Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Welcome back to Raiders of the Lost Artifact on Dice Tales channel, episode 2, which is a surprise because we didn't think we were going to have an episode 2. Because at the end of our last episode, both Clarence and Clarissa Butterworth were laying on the road to the ziggurat of Ur, dying from wounds inflicted by a skeletal horde that boiled out of the base of the ziggurat as they approached, seeking the stelae of Naram Sim. But, fortunately, rushing out at the last moment to their rescue is the third member of their group who joined them just recently here in Baghdad, mystery city of Iraq. Clark Hamilton, a treasure hunter that they hired as a guide, not knowing that he had a terrible reputation as a treasure hunter. He was recommended to them by several people who they met in Baghdad, not all of whom had their best interests at heart, and they talked to Clark and engaged his services, and he was late, held up by a last-minute tryst with one of his many female companions in the mystery city of Baghdad. But hustling up now, he sees them laying on the road. He pulls out his medical kit and immediately tries to apply first aid. Let's see if he can save their life. It might be a very short episode. If Clark cannot do the deed, we will have to see. So let's go ahead here and give it a roll. Against a difficulty of 10. First up is Clarissa, who looks the worse of the two and is indeed worse off. Oh, and he gets an 18, immediately stabilizing Clarissa, keeping her from bleeding out. He turns his attentions to Clarissa's brother, Clark, as Clarissa groans on the road and begins to come around, pulling out bandages for the ugly wound that the skeleton scratched across Clarence's chest. Clark tries his best to apply healing skills. A 16, another success. And Clarence groans, rolling over in pain underneath the ministrations of Clark Hamilton. But the good news is that he has managed to actually save him, which is very fortunate. So now the adventure can continue, helping the two explorers to their feet in their rocky condition. After having almost died, Clark says, "You need to see a doctor." Clarence is like, "Oh, you're so right. Oh," and Clarissa is like, "Buck up, Clarence." And with shaking hands, she takes her revolver out from underneath her jacket where she has it holstered and shakily reloads it from the rounds of ammunition in her pocket. She says to Clark, Did you see what happened?" Clark said, No, I came up too late." "What was it? Were you set upon by bandits?" And Clarissa says, "No, it was skeletons. It was animated, walking, talking. No, not talking, but walking skeletons," Clarence blurts out, and Clark looks at him wide-eyed. "Well, it's a dark night. Maybe their native robes fooled you into thinking they were skeletons." And Clarence, being Clarence, "Well, I suppose that's possible." "Well, there's certainly no such thing as living skeletons, now are there?" says Clark brusquely. "No," says Clarence, I suppose not." Clarissa just scowls, and he just shrugs. "Perhaps. But right now, let's get to a doctor." So that ends the current scene as they limp back toward Baghdad and the general ministrations of whatever physician they managed to find.